Thursday morning, friends. Mark Holmes here, of course, with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. So let's get open for business here and let's wake up the football gods here. It is Thursday. We are 3 weeks away from the NFL draft. Oh my God. You know what's crazy? We are almost 12 weeks away from the game we lost in the playoffs. Playoffs?
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs.
Playoffs, yeah.
Playoffs?
3 months. 3 months have gone by that quick. You know, I keep trying to tell people, enjoy life because life flies by a lot quicker than you think. My problem is, you know, before I know it, it's already 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, half the day is gone, and I haven't gotten as much done as I would actually like to get done, you know, every day. It's just so much stuff that I need to pack in. And before I leave away from here, there's a lot of things that I want to accomplish. And there's a lot of people that I want to be able to help as well. And so I am, you know, every day going balls to the wall to try and get all those things accomplished. So we are the Dallas Cowboys. We them boys. We the team that believes in the draft. And we know we're going to have to start focusing in now what the Cowboys are going to do, and that's going to be my focus now. Now that free agency is kind of wound down. Of course, there's the Honey Badger out there, which is probably the last really big free agent name, although there may be a couple of big trades that may happen. DJ Metcalf may be one of those ones, as the Seattle Seahawks realize that Super Bowl window of team that they had is completely gone, especially now that Russell Wilson is gone. And it may be time to start looking of reloading, you know, rebuilding and starting over. Some teams, of course, that aren't sure where they are. We're not sure if the Eagles feel like they're reloading or if they are just rebuilding. They can do either one with all the number of picks they have if they can learn how to pick. For our Cowboys, you would think that the Cowboys would be reloading coming off of a 12-5 season, saying we can get a few more pieces to help us. And instead of doing that, it feels like, I don't know. I'm not sure what the plan is. If this is reloading, rebuilding, or, you know, tearing the mother humper down. You know, we're told that the Cowboys are worse than they were last year. That may be true, but I'm not sure it's quite as true as they think we are. We lost Randy Gregory. I know that that's a loss, but it's not like you lost the best defensive end in football. Randy Gregory had flashes of playing good. Then he also had a lot of brain farts in penalties that extended drives for the other team. So, you know, you had a good and a bad there. I'm not saying that I wouldn't like to have it, because I would. But I'm not going to go on board and say, oh, my God, we've got no chance because we lost Randy Gregory. The reality is the defense that was a bunch of, you know, black sheep, a bunch of guys that really, and let's be clear here. Let's be clear here. As people go through and they talk about disappointment and everything else, think about all of the people that the Cowboys brought in last year. Most of these guys were cast-offs or guys coming off injuries, guys that were signed on the cheap. How many players going into last season did you look at and say other teams truly want to get? You could say D-Law, but not at the price he was being paid. You probably would have said Randy Gregory, maybe Diggs coming off his rookie year. But other than that, who did you honestly look at and say, that's a stud? Did you think Jaron Kearse, when the Cowboys signed him, that he'd get over 100 tackles and lead the team in tackles? Did you? Did you think that when we drafted Micah Parsons, that he'd get 13 sacks and end up being the rookie of the year? Probably not. Did you think Diggs was going to get 11 interceptions and play the way he did? No. You probably did not think of much. We were just saying, damn, do you think we can have a top 20 defense? Dan Quinn? You mean the coach of the Falcons that gave up more leads than anybody in the history of football, including the biggest meltdown in the Super Bowl? With these guys? But somehow they got that shit together with a bunch of no-names. And typically in football, this is the thing that most people don't understand. Because you play fantasy football, it basically skews what the reality of real football is. You can't just take a guy and say, I'm going to take him off that roster and I'm going to put him on this one, and ultimately, day one, he's going to play great. Now, that happened with Amari Cooper. But that is few and far between. Typically, you need time to learn the system. You need time to learn what each guy is doing. And that team came together really, really quick. Now, would you like to have some more talent? Yes. I think the Cowboys screwed themselves by not getting Bobby Wagner for $8.5 million. I'm sorry, $8.5 million. You're telling me I could have had Bobby Wagner for $3.5 million less than Dalton Schultz?
What the hell's going on out here?
Seriously? But that's not the Cowboys' way. Now, to the Cowboys' defense, they are good at finding talent. They are good at getting the homegrown guys and the guys on the cheap, because last year is a testament to that. As other teams are signing big-name players and expecting that kind of jump, the Cowboys, everybody kind of said, meh. One of those pieces, which should be a no-brainer with, Stephen Bargain Basement Jones, who has brought back most of the team that we had last year, with the exception of Randy Gregory, basically. Bringing back Jaron Kearse, of course, and Carlos Watkins and things. One of those guys they really need to bring back, in my mind, is actually Brent Urban. Brent Urban, who tore his tricep after the New England game. When you think about the Cowboys' run stopping, that's the Achilles heel for the Cowboys. Now, for me, excuse me. Hold on. If he was there at 24, I would love to get Jordan Davis. See, I believe in stopping the run. I believe in the big nasties in the middle. But more than likely, Jordan Davis won't be there when the Cowboys pick at 24. The nice thing is they brought him in, and the Cowboys typically, when they bring somebody in, they are definitely interested in drafting them. Who knows? Maybe this could be the anti-CeeDee Lamb, and he drops to our lap, and we somehow end up getting a Jordan Davis. But one thing I would say is Brent Urban. Okay? Now, understand, I have brain farts, okay? I'm old, and sometimes, like my dyslexia, I will say what I think is right in the same way I see something and it looks right, even though it's completely wrong. It's the dyslexia. Because I used to always call him, now I can't remember the guy's name. Keith Urban, the singer. But got it right finally. And, of course, then he's not on the team anymore. But believe it or not, Brett Urban, who is a monster of a guy height-wise, is one of those guys that when you look at numbers, and this is what most people don't understand about interior defensive line, because when I talked about, say, Calais Campbell years ago, they would look at the numbers and say, oh, he's only like, 60 tackles and, 7 or 8 sacks. You have to understand your job as the guy in the middle is not to get the glory. The defensive ends get the glory. They get the sacks. They get the big fat contracts. The linebackers who the defensive linemen keep the guards off of are made to be the ones to make the tackles. They have all the great, 170, like Bobby Wagner, tackles and things. The interior defensive linesmen are guys that are made to stop the run and hold the ground and basically keep everybody else free. And Brett Urban was actually one of those guys. And for our Cowboys last year, again, in the playoffs and late part of the year, stopping the run was the problem. Now, if the Cowboys aren't going to go through and get the big run stopper in the draft, now we do have a Quentin Bohannon that I believe in. We do have OC, who is going to take another step. We have the Canadian bulldozer and Neville Gallimore. These are young guys that I expect to be able to be better. And then there's a Tristan Hill in there who literally is in a contract year where this is do or die. The incentive is for him to try and do better than what he's done and to stay healthy. But a bargain basement type guy, Brent Urban, who basically was paid about $850,000 last year. And if the tricep is healed from the surgery, I think that's a guy that you want to bring in, because when you looked at the first 6 games with Brent Urban, that was the best the Dallas Cowboys were in stopping the run. And in there, because people say, oh, well, you play Tampa Bay, they don't run the football. True, Tampa Bay doesn't. The Chargers don't run the football a whole lot, but you did have New England, and you did have the Eagles, and we also have the Giants in there. The Giants can't pass the football. The only thing they can do is run the football, and you have the Panthers in there. So you had good running football teams that you were facing, and you were only giving up 86.1 yards per game. That, my friends, is winning football. So if we're talking about trying to fix the team, excuse me, on the cheap and spreading that money as far as possible, Brett Urban is a guy that you should definitely look at bringing back. He knows the system. He's cheap, and Stephen Jones likes that. And he is a guy who will do the dirty work. And finding guys that will do the dirty work, and you don't understand. If you've never played defensive interior line, you don't understand. It is hell. You get battered, bruised, beat up. You get hit from every different direction. Come Monday morning, your body is shot. And it takes a special guy that truly can take that abuse game after game after game. And Brett Urban is one of those guys. So that's what I got for you this morning. I'm going to start doing my draft process and figuring out who needs to be here for the Dallas Cowboys coming up in the draft. My take, it's the line, stupid. Guard, tackle, center, wide receiver, run stuffer. But we'll get into it a little bit more. With that being said, you know how we roll.
Our Coach here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe for the Sports Report.
You did one hell of a job, and the only thing else I got to say is, how about this, Joe?